All right. Welcome, everybody, to our LifeVantage opportunity call. I like to call it our Team LifeVantage opportunity call because we do this for the company and anyone that wants to jump on. And we've been doing this Wednesday nights. We appreciate you guys taking the time to jump on tonight. A lot of people still logging in, so we'll just give them a second here while we're introducing some folks. Tyler will be on in a second. He's just getting to a place where he can log in. We got a special treat tonight. Dondi and Marcy Nettles out of Phoenix, or near Phoenix, I should say, Arizona. We're lucky enough to have enrolled them, great friends of mine, and they have agreed and offered to jump on tonight and share some of their wisdom with you guys. And I'm excited. They're one of those people that you enroll in the business and then instantly start taking notes from, and respecting, and instantly start learning from. And so Donnie and Marcy, if you guys want to take 1 second and just introduce yourselves and maybe give us just a little tease at what's coming later on. I know you guys are going to jump in at the end, but we'd love to just introduce yourselves, and so folks can get to know you a little bit, and they'll hear from you a little bit later on. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Blue. It's an absolute honor to be on here, and great choice in shirts today. We didn't send a memo, we didn't call, but we've got the same shirt on. But yeah, it's just something that this has been absolutely transformational in my life, in my business, in my career, in my purpose, and my vision has led me to the most amazing human being I've ever met, my wife, Marcy. But just something that I wasn't looking for, to be quite honest. It's something that I was called to, not something I was looking for. And once I understood the level of that calling, it was all in from there. But it's an absolute honor to be on here. And
yeah, absolutely. You know, there's been a lot of blessings in my life, but very few of them even close to what LifeVantage has been in the people that have been brought into my life. And by the way, guys, I apologize for the voice, but I got to tell you, it's coming to you after an amazing event this last weekend. We're firewalkers now, and we screamed our guts out. So we're here and we're excited. We can't wait to share some information with you, let you know that anybody can do this. I mean, Blue, obviously, he was a firefighter. I was a police officer, Dondi a chiropractor, and you'll hear more about this in a minute. But just know that this opportunity is something that if you want change in your life and you're ready to become a biohacker, we can help you be successful. So we're super excited to be on here tonight. So thanks, Blue.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This is fun, and I love how you say if you're ready to become a biohacker. We're going to explain that a little bit tonight, because I think there's a few terms that get thrown around and in some of our meetings and some of these conversations. And we found a lot of excitement and success in helping people understand why we use those phrases and why they're different, why we're helping people with their health by using those. And also, right, I think there's another hacking that we're doing into our finances. And I think we need to think of a fun way to say that as well, because we're hacking into our biology and taking control of some things. But I do think, at least for me and my experience in this business, digging that well before you're thirsty involves health, and it involves finances, and it involves preparing ourselves just in case. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We're going to walk through what we feel is important about this opportunity, even go into a little bit of the science, a little bit of the compensation, and what you can turn this into, and then a little bit on how to get started and use some of the promotions that corporate's coming up with to further our business. And so we're directing our comments tonight for all you guests. We appreciate you getting on. We appreciate you trusting your loved ones and friends and coworkers close enough to jump on tonight. But we're also going to be talking to distributors as we present the information and talk about some of these promotions and things that are coming. So hopefully just spend some time tonight and just get some things done. When I'm off the call and different times, I'll try to answer questions and those things. But we're going to run through just kind of a presentation here just to get some of the facts and stuff out of the way, and then we can always answer some of those calls offline as well. So my background, you guys, Marcy already mentioned I was a paramedic for the city of Tucson for right at 10 years. I got on the job, wanted to promote to be an engineer, and I was a diesel mechanic by background. I grew up on a ranch and a farm, and running machines and fixing engines and hydraulics and pumping water. All that sounded really cool. But as soon as I got on the job, I realized that, man, like 90% of our calls were medical calls. We had a few fun the fire calls. I call them fun just because we get to actually go do what we're trained to do. I don't think it's fun for anybody to be in that situation, but it was nice to be able to go and perform and do some of the things. Traumatic calls were hit and miss, but medical calls on a consistent basis, people getting old, having, that what we're going to talk about tonight, these oxidative stress levels that get out of control and cause damage. And we got to see it firsthand. I just didn't know a lot about how it was connected to nutrition and some of those things. We just had a bucket full of medications and drugs, and we would do our best to patch up the problem. And I mean that very respectfully, because I think we had some amazing medications and drugs and modalities that we could actually help people very quickly. We could start your heart, we could slow it down, we could hide some pain if you had a traumatic accident. But most of what we had was quick band-aids, quick fixes, and very little of it was long-term change and long-term, what I would even consider being proactive instead of reactive. So I'm going to flip through some slides here that might help explain this a little bit, and maybe it'll just give you an idea as to what we're talking about. But people started asking me what the difference was, and I said, for me, I want to talk about being proactive versus reactive, because as a paramedic, we were very, very reactive. We would hang out at the firehouse. We would get ready for something bad to happen, and when it happened, we would jump in our truck and do the best we could to get to you quick, fix the problem, and do the best we could to help it. But what I started learning was the better we could do at teaching people how to be proactive and to start their health or start digging their well earlier, the better they did, and even when they had a medical situation. And so this slide actually kind of shows that. It shows a lifespan of someone from, in this case, to about 70, 75 years old. And this kind of changes each year with the average maybe death rate or those kind of things. But it always peaks out around 20. We see that, and then there's this slow decline. And then we have what we would consider some kind of medical event. I think that's a place where we start seeing a change and a drop. And hopefully we can intervene right there, and we can drag that out a little bit. As a paramedic, that was my goal, was to add a little bit extension, maybe even a little bit of quality of life. But in reality, and you take someone who's in that situation in their 70s, 75s, 80s, and ask them if they want an extra 5 or 10 years of that life. And very quickly the heads say, no, I don't know if this is the life I want to have another 10 years of. If I could go back to my 20s and 30s and 40s and extend that health, right, then I think we could. So there's this lifespan mentality. But when we start talking about taking action early and being proactive, I think we change it to what we would consider a health span. How long can we be healthy? Let's be healthier longer instead of just trying to fix and patch up something right at the end. And I'm one of the first, you guys, in reality. I don't think down on doctors and medications and pharmaceuticals. I've seen too many amazing, wonderful things happen in that world to deny all of that. But I also think that as society, we put a little strain on the system because we just kind of live however and do whatever and expect the doctors to fix it. Or they call 911. I've even had it happen. I got a call from a guy. I jumped in back of the truck. We wheeled him in there, and he just said, hey, I can't deal with this today. I got to go to work. I'm too busy to do this. Can you just give me a shot and fix this real quick? And I said, no, I think it's called cancer, and I don't think there's anything we can give you a shot to fix. And I mean, we had to start talking. He thought it was just that easy. Just go to the doctor, get a shot, and fix it. So we did a lot of educating as well. So being proactive is a whole different mindset. And we want to talk a little bit about this decrease right here and what that looks like and why that decrease is a bad thing and what we can do to help it out. So let's look at this real quick. So when you look at the major cause of this decline, we're gonna talk about oxidative stress tonight. And oxidative stress, is a term that we heard about in some of our classes in medic school and those things, but we didn't really have a fix for it. We didn't have a medication to give you for it, so we didn't really measure it or deal with it. We just knew it was there. We knew it was a problem. Since then, I've done a little more research after understanding some of our products and realized how big a problem that really is, and maybe some better ways that we can help turn that decline into a positive thing. So real quick, oxidation. I just found some fun ways to try to show this. We're going to run through these real quick. So we want to tee up the problem so that we can solve the problem, and I can show you why this company means so much to all of us. And for me, I really love the business side. I love the timing. I love what it's done for my family financially. I love some of those things, but I will say that I don't care how first we are or how much we make if the product's not going to make a difference in people's lives. The product has to make a difference, has to change people's lives. And in order to have a company long-term, you have to have a product that is ready to do that and able to do that, and something that's affordable when we are, find the modality to be able to do that. So think about some of these real quick, and we'll just walk through the concept of oxidizing, right? Of oxygen being a powerful benefit in our lives that we need. But I mean, you put a piece of metal outside long enough, it'll turn to dust, right? I mean, oxygen's powerful. And in the aging process, there's these free radicals that are in our bodies, and they very similar to this banana. As we get inundated with free radicals over and over and over again, the aging process is very connected to the same issue, if you would, or the same problem, same process of decay or rust and those kind of words as the aging process. And so we want to talk a little bit about oxidation, just so you understand the problem, so that we can show you an awesome benefit that we found through some of our products to help mitigate some of that. So oxidative stress, if you want to do some quick research, and if we were live with you today, we would actually take a second and wait for you to open up PubMed and type in the search box, oxidative stress, and do some research real quick, because it's fun to watch. I mean, actually, this was probably just a couple months ago. We had over 170,000 articles, and I was teaching this, and somebody said, raise their hand. I said, yeah, it's over 185 now, right? And it's just continually adding, and PubMed is continuing to having peer-reviewed, published research on the topic of oxidative stress. It's powerful. Whether we want to believe it or not, it is happening. It is breaking down parts and systems in our body, and we need to at least be aware. And we're going to hopefully make you aware tonight and give you some ways to help that. But if you want to see how real it is, you guys, there's hundreds of disease states attached to oxidative stress, and we want to make sure that you're aware of how serious that is, what those are, what you might be more liable to be involved with because of your history and your family and those things. Very, very connected. The traditional solution to this problem has been antioxidant consumption. This idea is pretty simple, but that's what we've been dealing with for a long time. It was about volume and absorption rates and quantities and quality, and it was, we called it the juice wars for a while because there was so many people trying to get in and find a better way, which I appreciate and I loved, and the more we're fighting over health, I think the better we're going to get. The consumption model does involve the free radical issue, and we involve an antioxidant solution. Antioxidants have the ability to mitigate and get rid of this free radical. This free radical is a molecule that's missing something. The antioxidant has the ability to bind and give what it's missing. The problem or limitation to this is this gets rid of it, but the problem, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It takes one antioxidant molecule, pick your favorite one, right? Pick blueberries or something and say, we got one blueberry molecule that slides in there and fights the problem and gets rid of one free radical. But if you understood the magnitude of how many free radicals are in our bodies, it will blow your mind with the need in the consumption model that it makes it impossible. We would have to consume pounds and pounds and pounds of blueberries and some of these other juices and even the potent antioxidants, the inability to ingest, digest, absorb, and get into our system and use it is what makes the consumption model weak or not even a viable option in the world of trying to get rid of free radicals. So if you could picture this visually, this big cloud of free radicals on the side of your screen here, this is what it would be like to eat this blueberry molecule, to come across and slide into that space and get rid of one of those free radicals, and then that's the benefit. A friend of mine said it's like throwing marbles at an aircraft carrier and expecting it to slow down. Right? I love that analogy because scientifically we can probably prove that the marble's energy did something in the reality of slowing that down, but nothing visible, nothing we're going to see, nothing we're going to feel, and in our bodies. We're not saying don't eat blueberries. We're not saying don't consume antioxidants, but the reality of thinking we're going to consume enough is probably the part we're not going to be able to do. So we call this being hijacked. When something else is in control, we call it hijacked, right? It's this idea of that we're being taken over. And when this antioxidant production or consumption isn't enough to get rid of what's happening free radical-wise, we consider that being hijacked. And when we lose control of our health, that's what starts to happen. We found a concept we're going to introduce to you. I'm going to have one definition. I know it's kind of a big word. We don't want to get into too many of those tonight, but nutrigenomics, you guys, the study of how nutrition and naturally occurring compounds affect our genes, right? It's our ability, right? And we're at the forefront of that. We'll explain this here in a little bit, but it's the ability for nutrition to affect our genes. That connection is pretty valuable when we start tying in and trying to understand what nutrigenomics is. And I'm going to give you a quick little graph. There's a little bit here to understand. We just want to show you how our products, how our nutritional products can go clear down to affect the cellular function in our bodies. So we activate with natural compounds, just like we talked about the definition of nutrigenomics. We tell the DNA, right, these cookbooks, if you would, or recipes that our DNA runs. We just tell the right recipe to run, and we activate certain pathways within the DNA, and the DNA knows what to produce, and it produces our own antioxidants. Our people don't know this, and I had to learn it too, but our bodies produce our own actual antioxidants, and I think that's amazing. And so teaching our bodies to produce it through nutrition is where we have the breakthrough solution of antioxidant production. We're producing now the solution. Instead of trying to take and absorb and digest and all those things, now we take these enzymes and proteins that we need, and they can literally, right, scavenge in about 1 million free radicals per second. They don't work like an antioxidant does. They work completely different. Our DNA produced them. We have them. We own them. When we're young, we have a lot of them. As we age, we don't have as many, and so that's where we start to see some of the problems. But when we're young, this problem starts to, the problem of free radicals can be mitigated a little bit because we can have these proteins upregulated and working in our bodies, and we're producing the solution internally, right? I think it's an amazing idea. And by producing, we start to have the benefits of what we call biohacking, right? We are taking control. Hacking is one of those words I just love. It's, sometimes I picture the guy in the beanie, and he's taking your credit card numbers kind of thing, and he's taking control, right? In the world of biohacking, the way we picture it is we are literally taking control of a complex system, our bodies, right? Biohacking, and what more complex system than the human body, right? But biohacking is the ability for us to take a small piece of code, if you would, and implement it into a system and take control of it. In this case, we get to pick and send the code in. We're sending in a solution, and we get to achieve the desired result of taking control of our bodies, hacking it back, getting it out of the hijack situation, and becoming what Donnie and Marcy suggested as biohackers, right? And I love that. And I love the symbol of that. I think we're wearing that. The idea that our company has the ability to do that is where the value is. And so let's talk a little bit through, just as a summary here. The consumption model was the traditional solution. Our breakthrough solution is a production model, right? We still need antioxidants, but let's produce them. Okay, it works pretty cool. From outside the body versus from made from inside the body. I think these are real good comparisons to visually see this. A 1-to-1 ratio, which is limited, versus 1 million per second. We start to even mathematically, we can show you how that starts to work. Unknown substances versus natural substances. Guess and hope. I mean, we're always with the traditional solution trying to figure out what's going to absorb, how much do we need, how much volume, how many. And this, we just use nutrigenomics. We turn on a switch in our bodies and allow our bodies to start producing. It's amazing. Reactive versus proactive. I love that concept. It's why I'm here health-wise. It's why I'm here business-wise. That concept rings true with me all over. So hijacking, if we don't want to be hijacked, you guys, we have to biohack. We have to learn. And there's a lot of ways to do that. We're just going through a couple ways tonight. The person that put you on the call can show you some other things we have to do this. But I'm going to show you one study that got my attention, you guys. We tested 20 to 80-year-olds, right? And if you want to put the bananas on there to maybe show the age process, I think that might be a visual for you. But the reality is they had the oxidative stress after testing it with these age groups. It showed an age-related increase, right, in the amount of oxidation as we get older. They gave them Protandim, which is our NRF2 synergizer. We activate that pathway and tell our genome, right, to produce certain enzymes, and then we start to activate those in our bodies. After this study, we could see that there was no longer an age-related increase. The 80-year-olds' oxidative stress levels were the same as the 20-year-olds. And so I show you this because I want to point out this red triangle, right? That red triangle, you guys, is why I am personally here, because I want to help the world get rid of that red triangle. I don't care if you're 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever age. We want to bring that down to that average level and keep you there. And if we can do that, if you understand what that means, it means you're going to be on the products, you're going to be on them forever, you're going to maintain and keep that oxidative stress levels down, and you're going to have a change in in your health, right? That's what we want. We want to see that positive change, and we want to see what it can really do for. We don't know exactly what it will do for you because we don't know how oxidation or oxidative stress is affecting your body specifically, but we are excited and so excited to watch what has happened over 9 years now of people taking the product, what's coming up into the future. And many of these things were actually shown to me by, I'm glad Donnie's on the call tonight, because he showed many of these things and explained it to me in a way that that even a firefighter could understand, right? Using small words and basic things that I could see. But once I saw this graph and realized all I'm helping people do is take that average and bring it down consistently with a product that's validated to do so, I said, man, that's enough for me. And we took off running, you guys. So I hope we don't need to see everything. There's a ton more science. We could spend hours here tonight. I just want to mainly show you that we have the ability consistently to bring that down to a level that's manageable. And I will say this, seems like the older people are, the more they call and the more they notice and the more they feel, because a 20-year-old isn't changing a whole lot. That 80-year-old is having some pretty big changes that they get to feel and notice. So if you want to go do a little research, you can go to PubMed, you guys. Here's some of the journals that our products are in. It's amazing when you start seeing the pile of journals. Even the Journal of Circulation, you guys, as a paramedic, that was our friend, right? For our ACLS medications, that's where we went to do a lot of research. When you look at some of the studies and where they were done, some of these areas might get your attention. Some very, very credible sources did the research for us. That's what I love about it. You can go read it yourself. Some people get lost in the weeds a little bit for months because there's so much to read. So I would suggest to read through the abstracts, get a little confidence, start taking the product, have your own experience, and watch what that does for you. You're gonna appreciate what the product's able to do. So let me show you a couple other technologies that we have in the biohacking circle, because we do have a Nerf1 synergizer, which acts on a different line of that code, and it helps our mitochondrium to be strengthened. Our mitochondrium is where all the energy is produced in our cells, and when you have cellular metabolism that is increased and benefited, it's amazing. I mean, it's kind of like taking a little 4-cylinder out of your car and putting a V8 in it, right? We're going to burn things better. We're going to have some more waste to get rid of, and that's why I suggest taking these together, but it's an amazing combination. We also have Omega now, looking at the fatty organs in our body, including our brain and some of those things. What an amazing product. And we could spend, again, time showing you where this comes from, why it's different than what's out there, and why it took so long for us to make sure it was right before we just added it to what we have as a product line. And then we have a ProBio with a very interesting technology as well that allows it to submarine into our system and unlock the power of probiotics where it's needed. And again, that's another hour conversation. Just know, by all together, if you want to biohack and take control, these technologies will help you to do so. We did add this in what we call Vitality Stack. I think it's an amazing way to just tear the top and have everything you need in one little spot, and not have to go digging through bottles and all those things to have the benefits of the product. So kind of a neat fix for what we're looking at here. We've had the bottles. This is fairly new, but make sure this is on your monthly order. If you want the total benefits of what we have, this is the main starting point. I will just introduce to you, we do have the same Nerf2 technology in a skincare line. We have the same technology as Nerf2 as well in a product for our pets. This one specifically for dogs. Pet Tandem is able to be expanded, I think, as a line. When we see what it's doing for other animals, it's been powerful. We have a weight management, weight control system with our ProBio within that system as well. And then we have Smart Energy, which by itself is amazing. Not just the energy portion of that, but the mental clarity and the things that you get from that product. I had a hard time watching so many people have a hard time when it comes to their energy part. Red Bulls and Monsters and things like that at the firehouse. They would literally, some cases, have 3 or 4 before noon just to function. And it was a really hard way, I think, to have, their health-wise. And I think there was one guy specifically, I'll tell you the story, I'm trying to remember the whole story here, but I put him on the monitor because he was feeling weird at about noon. And I asked him what had happened, and he told me what he had been taking. And he basically told me, he said, I take this every day and I feel weird. And I printed off his EKG. And I remembered a patient we had a few days before, and I printed off that patient's EKG and I compared them just to show him what was going on. He remembered how that patient looked, And I said, this is kind of where you're heading by what you're doing. And it was pretty powerful. And he actually quit that day and hasn't had it since. So, so let me do one more thing here. There's a couple more things I'm going to add Tyler in here because we have, awesome. Let me do a couple things. I want to introduce this trend idea. The idea of our trends, when you look at the product alone, products are great. We need to have them. We have a lot of customers because of them. We love our customers. My grandparents and mom and family members have been on it for 9 years and have story after story after story. But when you start to realize who's taking it and why and where we're heading, we have a really unique opportunity. And I'm going to show you maybe one way of showing this, right? Anti-aging industry. What do you think that is right now, you guys? I didn't realize it's this high, but the anti-aging industry is over a $300 billion industry right now, you guys. It's huge. Skincare is over 120. Pets, this is pet health, right? This isn't dog food and animal food. This is just the health side, over 67 billion. I did not know it was that big. Energy, smart energy, we're looking at, and this is energy in general, we're tapping into it with this smart energy concept at over 50 billion. And then weight management right now is almost 40 billion. So you put that together, we're over a $500 billion industry as a whole that we're tapping into and that we're doing business in, right? We're in the same sandbox playing around in this area. It's an amazing place to be. There's a lot of business, a lot of people. We're in a really good place. To know how big, this is a one little validation we've had. I was actually up in Phoenix doing a meeting with Dondi and Marcy, and somebody sent this to me on that night on their phone and said, hey, I just saw this on the Today Show, and they just took a screenshot, so I just thought I'd show it real quick. By year 2020, this personalized health market is going to be a $600 billion industry, you guys, by year 20. That's coming soon, okay? And they're predicting that nutrigenomics, if you look on that left side, is one of the major factors within that personalized health market, taking control, the biohacking message, everything that we have, I think is right on track. And the fact that we've been doing this a while and we are at the forefront of nutrigenomics is what makes, I think, that 600 billion exciting, not scary, but exciting for us, right? We love it when it comes out and people start understanding it. We will have others come around, but the way our products are protected and that we have control and patents, I think we're in a really good place. One other business idea, this was brought to me by a guy who graduated from Stanford Business School, and he talked about the difference between red ocean and blue ocean, right? So all you business minds start thinking, well, where are we heading? Is this that different? Where we're going? Well, I just showed you these side-by-side comparisons. And when you think of red ocean and blue ocean, there's the red ocean, right? I think this is maybe a pretty dramatic graphic, but there is a little bit of bait and everyone's fighting over the same ground. In the supplement world right now, there is a lot of red ocean. There's a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of people fighting for the same space. Business-wise, it's a tough place to be. And even our products at one point were on a shelf at GNC in that space. Blue ocean, I love this idea. Nutrigenomics, you guys. I love deep sea fishing, and Donnie and I actually had a chance to do that out in Carolina, catching some sharks together. It was a blast. What a great place to be, sitting in the middle of the blue ocean, realizing that we're by ourselves right now, right? Not that no one else will come. It's just that we're in a good place business-wise because nutrigenomics is the wave of the future, and we have a head start. So company-wise, you guys, real quick, we're publicly traded. Our products are patented, many of them, and we have many patents in different areas, even different countries to protect what we can within our products. And many of those are 25-year patents. So you can look up the details on those. I just want you to know that the company is doing a good job at keeping things very visible. You can go on and yourself and invest. You can go on and, if I'm not buying a new car, I'm going to pop the hood and look, right? I'm not going to take their word for it. I'm going to look a little bit and understand what's going on, you guys. We're in a good place. And timing-wise, I think it's another one of those things to evaluate. All of these things, by the way, are things that we looked at before we jumped in to any company. I actually went to 15 different companies with this checklist and turned them down 15 times because they were missing something. It wasn't until LifeVantage came along that all of these 6 things were answered: the products, the trends, the company, the timing. And when I saw the answer to all of those things, I got excited and I knew we had something that was going to go somewhere. And that was 9 years ago, you guys. And it's taken a lot of families to a completely different place. It's helped us dig wells and be very prepared. One example of timing I want to show you here. This is a company, it's not ours, but it's a company. I want to show you how the business S-curve works, how business in general plays out typically. And in this case, this is the first 5 and then 10 years of this company. You can see a pretty steady growth. The left side there being in millions. So you have a 10-year to 19 years. You can see the steady growth. And if I was asking you if this was public, what would you be doing? At that point, you're probably still buying shares and participating and getting involved. Is kind of fun. This is where the question happens. And I want to bring this up because I've had some people ask me about stock and where we are and where we're heading. I just kind of laugh because we have a very clear-cut vision. This is where some people make a lot of money. There's some people that will bail because they think it's falling apart. In this case, this company almost dropped half of what it used to be. That's a pretty dramatic drop. But for those that looked at the whole picture and saw what was going on and where they were heading, look at the next few years, you guys. Year 19 to 26 is that yellow box at the bottom of your screen. Barely even an issue. When you look at in year 27, 28, 29, you had the iPod, you had iTunes, and then you got into the iPhone and then the iPad, right? This is Apple if you haven't figured it out. What a powerful, powerful way to understand how businesses work, right? There's an introduction, there's a getting started, getting things launched. It wasn't until they went through and reorganized and got some things ready branding wise, and then they took off to the moon. And what a powerful message. So timing wise in our company, guys, we're gonna talk about this a little bit. Tyler Daniels, you guys, my enroller, my sponsor in this company, and I'll go as far as to say a life coach to me as well, has been a great mentor. And looks like he did get the memo on the hat as well. I think that's awesome. I'll just tell you that Tyler has been one of the leading sources for me to understand this industry, to understand what timing really is, what compensation plans really can do. Tyler asked me early on in my business what my goals were. And I said, if I can make $5,000 a month and double my income and just be a firefighter and come home and not do the drywall and the fixing cars and all the other stuff, I said, this will be amazing. And he actually looked at me and laughed a little bit, right? Just enough to, like, why are you laughing at me? And he said, you know what? This industry has a lot more to offer than that. You better add a 0 or 2 to that number, right? And I kind of laughed at first. I did end up believing better as I understood this business and ended up adding a 0 or 2 to that, and have went out and accomplished some of those goals financially and had no idea how much was here to offer. When you add all of this together and you put it into an opportunity, you guys, we have the ability to add those zeros at the end financially, because we're helping thousands and hundreds of thousands of people legitimately with their health. It's a real conversation. So Tyler, I'd love you to take us back a little bit through some of the stuff we've been through, and then maybe introduce timing and compensation for our company. And then we'll have Donnie and Marcy follow you up with some other things. So thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hey, you bet. That sounds can you see me all right? Is the camera facing the right direction?
Yeah, I can see you good. It's a little bit staticky, but I think we're good. Go ahead, bud.
Well, I will lift this up, guys. I'm traveling around the country right now. It seems to Wednesdays seem to fall on a day that I'm always gone and I'm not in front of my computer. So to jump on this Zoom call tonight, I called Blue up and said, hey man, I'm running through the mountains in Southern California. I'll be up in a little place called Tehachapi, California. So watch me. I'll dial in. I might be a couple minutes late, but I'm glad to be here, you guys. I pulled over. I'm sitting in a parking lot right now. We just got done working up in the Northern California area. We did 4 meetings yesterday, 2 meetings the day before that. And it's been a lot of fun, you guys. This company is really on fire right now, which is kind of what I want to talk about. If you go back in time to when I really got introduced to MLM or network marketing, someone looked at me and they said, Tyler, you've got 2 choices. You've got one choice where you can follow what society thinks that you should do, where you're going to get on this 40-year treadmill. You're going to hope that by the end of that 40-year treadmill, you can save enough money along the way, or that they're willing to give you some kind of a retirement that you can live on. I started really looking into that and realized that, there's a lot of statistics out there that would suggest that that's not really the best treadmill to be on. About 95% of the people who take that path get to be 65 and they're either dead or broke when they get there. And I thought, that's probably not the path I need to be on. They said, but there's this idea out there. There's an idea that is a little bit different than what society would tell you that you can do. There's this idea that will allow you to go out and create something called a royalty income, or a residual income is something that a lot of us are familiar with in this industry. And And I said, well, tell me a little bit more about that. And they said, well, if you will go out and you will introduce people to a company that goes through a momentum cycle and participate in that company as it becomes what we call a legacy company, you can build an income that is based on monthly orders of product, monthly orders that will create a residual or a royalty type income for you. And I said, well, tell me a little bit more about that. And so they started to explain these things to me. And this was about 15 years ago. And they started to talk to me about the very things that you heard here tonight. They talked to me about the importance of products that are unique. They talked to me about the importance of having those products packaged in 30-day supplies. They talked to me about the importance of making sure that it wasn't just another Me Too product like a lot of companies out there are. And so I really decided to become a student of this industry after I had about a tremendous amount of success in the first year in this business. So after the first year, I'd replaced all of my appraisal income. After the second year in business, I'd replaced all of my wife's insurance adjusting income. I became a student of this industry, and I really started paying attention to what behaviors I had to follow, what things I had to notice, what kind of questions I had to ask in order to educate other people to have the same kind of success. And that's what we've done for the last 15 years. So when LifeVantage came into our lives about 9 years ago, back in 2009, just like Blue was saying earlier, we were investigating quite a few companies at the time, and LifeVantage happened to meet most of the requirements. There were a couple things that we had to kind of grow into. Some of the science that we have today is something that we were hoping would happen with those 23 peer reviews that he talked about. Some of the financial things in the very beginning we had to get ironed out, but the fact that we're a publicly held company made it a lot easier for these guys to go out and do a capital raise to allow us to get busy and build this company out. So here we sit 9 years later with a company that has gone through the chaos and the confusion and that period of time where you're trying to find corporate staff and you're trying to really identify who you are, get the kind of marketing materials that you need. And here we sit 9 years later with information about how our comp plan is performing. And we're very, very excited because we're just a $200 million company today. And if you look at the big legacy companies out there, the ones that we want to be like or emulate, the Herbalifes, the Nu Skins, the Mary Kays, the big companies, they're several billion-dollar companies. They're very, very large companies. And I like to look at people when I travel around, and I like to ask a question. If you had a magic wand and you could turn the clock back on any of those companies, what would you turn them back to? You know, what would you want them to look like? Well, for me, I'd want them to be at about the 10% mark. I'd want them to be back at that 150, 200 million, maybe $300 million mark, because that's where a company starts to figure things out. And it's prior to when they really go through their big growth spurt. It's kind of like that chart that Blue showed you on Apple. It's that moment before they go on that almost vertical growth rate. And that's where I believe all the opportunity really exists. If you can identify that company that's at about $200 million, and they have the potential to become several billion because they have that unique product. They're working in that blue ocean part that Blue talks about. Hey, you better take a deeper look. You know, if you got invited onto this Zoom call tonight and we say something that intrigues you, then go back to the person who invited you and ask them some more questions. You know, find out the answers. Look at some of those peer reviews. Study our range of income report, which if Blue will throw up on the screen really quick, I'll walk you through some of the things that we're really proud of on our range of income on the compensation side of this, because as we sat in a room 9 years ago and we're talking about how we wanted our compensation plan to behave, one of the things that was really, really important to us is that we spread that money out. We didn't just pay it to the guys at the very, very top. You know, the people that are on this call, we all sit at the top of this company, and it's important that they make some money. But if all of it goes to just a few, then you're going to have what we call the churn and burn situation in the industry, where people are coming in, they're not making a lot of money. They're just being told that when you get to the top, it's great. And we thought we've got to change that. This company is changing the expectations in validation. This company is changing the expectations in legitimacy with its science. Let's change the expectations in the experience someone has financially as well. So if you look down there at the Pro 3 rank, you'll notice that in our company, when someone hits the Pro 3 rank, the average income is about $580. Now, if you pay close attention to that number, I'm going to talk to you guys about some stuff here in just a second about retirement. That number is a big, big deal, $580. We focus heavily on that in this company because we know that there is a group of people out there that are trying to decide whether or not they're going to take their Social Security now or wait a little bit. And if you wait, the goal is to wait 2, 3, 4 years to pull your Social Security out so that you can get a $300 increase in that Social Security. Well, we're providing people a pathway to that without having to wait. So we pay a lot of attention to Pro 3. It's a $580 average income at Pro 3. We then try to help them understand that if they can get a few other people to Pro 3, they might qualify for Pro 5, which is about a $20,000 a month volume. And the average income at Pro 5 with that $20,000 average or organizational volume is about $30,000 a year. The reason we focus a lot on that, you guys, because the average income in America is about 50 grand. And we know that if we can cover about half of that, it starts to change the conversation in the house. You start to say, can we afford to put a little bit of money away for maybe our kids' college fund? Or can we, put a little bit more money away for our retirement, so that we're not having to tackle that question of, should we wait for 3 or 4 more years to get our Social Security? We know that we can add value by putting an extra $30,000 a year into someone's pocket. We also know that just like teaching them when they hit Pro 3 to get other people to Pro 3 and they can become a Pro 5, that once they know it can be done, we then take them and help them teach their people to become Pro 5s, which will make them a Pro 7. Now, Pro 7s in our company do about $100,000 in volume. They've basically just gone out and shown this video or this information to a whole bunch of people, to where they have, 5 people who found 5, and their organizations are starting to grow. At this stage, they're making about $11,000 a month on average, and that's where people can make a decision. That's where we can look at you and say, if you're not happy with the job that you have, it's time to maybe consider going full time. This is where we're doubling the average income in America, and people have choices. And so we're really, really proud of the fact that along the way, along this journey, as people are experiencing this company, there's significant amounts of income that they make, so that they can put gas in their car. They can buy those tickets to those elite academies. They can afford to educate themselves, so that they can go out and impact other people's lives with the product, as well as the income that people generate by talking about this business. Now, if you will go out and do this thing and you become full-time and you decide you want to go big, in our country, I know that there's a lot of us that are really competitive, and we do not want to be stuck with what society tells us we should do. We do not want to be stuck on that 40-year treadmill. We want to go out and do something to where maybe we can cut that time in half, or maybe you could be like most of us on this call and be in your 40s and essentially retired, okay? This can happen. You do not have to stay on that 40-year treadmill. You can get on a 5 or a 10-year treadmill if you want. And if you do that, you can work yourself up into the Pro 9 and Pro 10 ranks. Look at what that average income is at the Pro 10, at that Pro 10 rank. Now Blue is a step above this. I happen to be at the Pro 10 rank, and our income is making that average go up just a little bit. But Blue, the guy who started this Zoom call with you, he's what we call an executive Pro 10, executive master Pro 10. And it's a rank above where I'm at. And I'm really proud to say that I was able to go out and have the courage to find him and enroll him down in Tucson, Arizona. I tell people all the time, if you'll look at that chicken list of yours and you will enroll people who are better than you at this business, then it works out really well for you. And so that's what I did when I found Blue. And so you can look at these incomes though, and you start to go, what could you do with an extra $110,000 a month rolling in? And I know that's a lot of money. I know that there's a lot of you guys that wonder, is that even possible for me? Well, if you think about what we were talking about on timing, let me just give you a little bit of insight here. Over the last 8 or 9 years, we've built 200 people into that Pro 7 and above category. We've built 200 people that are elite ranks and above, 200 people at the $200 million mark in our company. And if you want to verify any of that information, go to LFVN. We do quarterly reports. We tell you exactly where our company is at. We tell you how much volume we have, what our inventory is, how much we're spending to pay our CEO. I mean, if you want to know what Darren Jensen's being paid, you can go look it up, okay? We talk about our commissions. Well, we believe that we're going to take this company from 200 million to that $2 billion mark. And when we do that, it's going to 10 times what we've done so far. So if we've built 200 people into those elite ranks and above, we should have a couple thousand people, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people that are in those elite ranks as we take this thing into that legacy category, into that legacy company, a designation. And so if there's a couple, 2,000 or 3,000 people getting into those ranks, there's a really good chance for you. The growth curve that's going to have to take place in order for us to do that is very similar to what you saw with Apple. It's going to almost have to be vertical. So people say to us all the time, What makes you think you're going to do that now? Well, if you look at the industry and you become a student of this industry, you'll find out that there's plateaus between that $150 to $300,000 or $300 million range. And companies kind of have to reinvent themselves. So for us, we're very, very fortunate that we're super legitimate in our science. We have massive amounts of science. It allows us to then look at other products that are in the process of becoming that validated. And that's where the Nerf One came from. It's where the probiotics with the microbiome in your gut health comes from. It's where those omega products come from. Darren Jensen was brought in here 2 years ago to do the very thing that we've done. He was brought in here to meet that requirement of helping a company add to its product offering, helping a company clean all of its compensation plan up, helping a company bring in corporate staff that have years and even decades of experience so that you can go from that $150 to $300 million plateau to that next $700 or $800 million plateau. And that's where we're at. I'll give you guys a little bit of insight here. We just launched that Vitality Stack that Blue went through in January. The consequence of that, or the reward of that, if you want to call it a reward, is that we're experiencing massive growth in the company right now. The enrollments that I'm seeing in my back office, and we can see 65 to 70% of what's going on. The enrollments this month are on pace to have a 20% increase over February. 20% increase in just 1 month. That would be a really great indicator to tell you that this company is starting to turn that corner to have that vertical growth. It'll be fun to see how we finish this month out. It'll be fun to see how we work through April and May and June. But you guys are all going to be able to know. It's not going to be a secret. We have to report these numbers. We have to tell you exactly what's going on. So, I hope you'll pay attention to what's going on. We're really, really excited about that. Not only are we seeing that 20% growth in the overall enrollments, but we're also seeing that across the board with distributor versus customer. It's a very balanced growth, but it's a very accelerated growth. So we're kind of excited about that, you guys. Let me wrap up my little portion of this with talking a little bit more about that 40-year treadmill, because I hope you're looking at these numbers and realizing that there's a place for you somewhere in this company. There's a place for you financially. There's a place for you with your health. Let me wrap this thing up with talking to you about a little article that I saw the other day from a website called the newretirement.com. I'm going to pull this up and read you a little bit of the statistics that they have out there. According to newretirement.com, they said 85% of the people 65 and older get Social Security. The average Social Security income in 2017, so this is just last year, the average Social Security income in 2017 was $1,360 a month. In our company, you just have to go hit Pro 4 and you can get that average Social Security income. It's actually a little scary to me. I hope when you guys hear this, I would hope that it scares you a little bit and makes you start thinking about maybe having what we call a side hustle. A lot of the millennials out there, they don't want to do what we've done as older people. They say that side hustle is the way they're going to do it. I hope that $1,360 worth of Social Security makes every one of you go, there's got to be a better way. You guys should take a really close look at what Tyler's talking about and what Dondi and Marcy are going to talk to you about here in just a minute. Take a closer look, because $1,360 doesn't sound like a fun number to retire with. Okay, so they also say on here that 63% of retirees rely on assets for retirement income. And the average for those assets is another $1,500 a month. So people are going out there and they're selling assets. They're refinancing their houses. They're trying to live on that $2,800 a month between Social Security and the assets that they took 40 years to build, only to leave them with nothing to pass on to their children. And so it's a pretty scary environment out there. So here's their 7 suggestions. This is what the newretirement.com guys say you should do when you get to that 65-year-old age. They say, number 1, you postpone your retirement. Well, I don't know how that sounds to you, but that sounds pretty miserable to me, because I'm trying to speed that process up. I don't want to postpone my retirement. I want to, when I'm 40, I want to retire earlier. I want to get off that 40-year treadmill and get on that 5 or 10-year treadmill. Postpone your retirement. Pretty interesting there. So postpone the start of your Social Security is the number 2 thing they say. That's that $300 a month thing that I was telling you about a minute ago. Go out and become a Pro 3 in our company, and you don't have to postpone your retirement. You're postpone your Social Security. You can go ahead and take it when you're ready and make up that $300 with a $580 average income. Number 3, get a retirement job. This is what people are telling you to do. They're telling you to go out and work 4 years of your life and then turn around and work for another 15 or 20, I guess, until they work you right into the grave. I mean, I guess that's what they want you to do. I'm telling you that there's a better way if you can identify that company that is going right into that momentum cycle. Just know the right questions to ask, you guys. You won't have to go out and get a retirement job. That seems a little crazy to me. Okay, number 4, postpone the withdrawal of savings and maximize your investments. So they're saying that even though most people don't take the time or make the sacrifice to invest while they're going, they're saying, well, it's time to go ahead and start making those sacrifices and hope you can catch up with it, which is almost impossible. Number 5, tap your home equity. Well, I don't know if that sounds like a great idea to any of you, but I'm not going to work my whole life and build equity into my own home only so that I can use that equity and have to give my house back to the bank, I guess, when I die and leave nothing for my kids. I believe in generational wealth. That's what we create over here. Tap into your home equity. Crazy, a little bit crazy. Budget and stick to it is number 6. Budget and stick to it. So it was hard enough while you were on that 40-year treadmill to create a budget to make the sacrifices to invest in your retirements. But somehow, when you're making half of what you couldn't live on before, you're now it's going to be a lot easier to make that budget and stick to it, even though you couldn't do it before. Again, I'm not sure why they're giving this advice. It seems crazy to me. Number 7, last one, know what you have and what you need. You guys, I'm going to tell you, you can have anything you want. This doesn't have to be a situation where you're just trying to live on what you need, which is very little, actually. Why don't you go out and find a company that has all those things in place, that has the products that are unique, that are not just a Me Too product. Find those scientifically validated products. Find that company that has perfect timing, that's beyond the chaos and beyond that confusion that they have to go through in the early stages. Find that company that's ready to go on that vertical growth like that Apple chart. Find that company that's a couple $100 million in, ready to become a $2 or $3 billion company. Find that company that is paying people through their compensation plan fairly. When you look at our range of income report, you'll find out that the majority of our income goes at middle rank, Premier 4, Premier 5, Premier 6 ranks. We're very proud of the fact that the lion's share of the money that's paid out goes to that stability level, that long level, that level where people are really deciding whether they can go full-time or not. So find that company that has a compensation plan like that. Find that company that has the leadership like what you're hearing on this call here tonight, like what you're going to hear from Dondi and Marcy in just a minute. And find that company that's paying attention to the way people are gathering, that is paying attention to the way people communicate in society. I know that the Blue is just like me. We watch the Facebook Lives that Dondi and Marcy do. They're very, very active in social media. They're very, very active in educating their teams, like a lot of people in this company are. This company is very active. The leadership in this company is fully engaged. At a time where we're going to from a couple $100 million to that $700 or $800 million mark. Find those companies so you do not have to go down that path of those 7 suggestions according to newretirement.com. Find yourself a way to not be in that situation. And I think we have something to offer to you. So I'll wrap it up with that, you guys. Again, I'm on the road down here in Tehachapi. I hope you could hear everything I was saying, and I'll turn this thing back over to Blue.
Tyler, thank you so much. Yeah, it was just breaking up just a little bit, but man, we got all the numbers and those facts are amazing. I really see that in the path that I was on. And I take that personally when I start looking at those retirements. I had a buddy of mine, a firefighter, who went in recently to Human Resources and got his printed retirement estimation because he had hit his 20-year mark. And they take your top 3 years, and they take, which was around 60, so they take that in half. You get 50%, which is about 30, which is about $2,500 a month, just doing the quick math, which is a Pro 5 income. After 20 years of risking your life and fighting fires and doing the stuff, which I do understand, I did it for 10, his retirement was going to be $2,500. He went out and built the Pro 6 income around this in a couple of years and added another 5 to 6 to that, which makes it almost 3 or 4 times what he was going to be bringing home just as after 20 years. So, and he did that in a matter of a year or two. So just an amazing, and it can keep going. I mean, you can build that to whatever you want. So Dondi, Marcy, I'm going to give the time to you guys. Take 10 minutes or so. We appreciate you guys. What an amazing, chance to have you guys on here as our, I mean, I love Tyler, how he introduces me as someone he enrolled and looks up to. And I kind of laugh because Tyler's been such a role model, but you guys have done that for me as well, as, you know, being someone that we enrolled and brought into the business and then turned around and started taking notes from. So this has been a fun leadership team working together. And share with us a little bit on what's coming and some of the promotions, and maybe a little bit on how to get started for those guests that are here. And we probably have a good 10 minutes or so take what you need. So appreciate it.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Blue. We're totally honored. And something that I actually just had a conversation today with somebody when they find out that somebody still calls me Dr. Nettles, is that I was actually a doctor. And it's like, yeah, I was a doctor for almost 20 years and I sold my practice to be a network marketer. And they thought, what, are you crazy? And I said, no, I was actually intelligent about it, because I realized that I was only helping people when my office was open, when my clinic was open, I was helping people. But when it wasn't, I wasn't. But I still had to have that monthly income to come in, because my overhead was $23,000 a month with all my payroll and staff and advertising and all the other things that go along with that, malpractice insurance. And it was a great income and a great living, but every single bit of the time that I spent building that dream was outside my home. And so my family, the people I loved and cared about the most, suffered. So I was actually going and creating a financial way of life for them that I actually participated myself out of. And that's why I went through a divorce, and it's just something that's just something that is very familiar with a lot of people. But when I saw network marketing and that I could actually work from home and help people 24 hours a day, as long as I was willing to work, and as many people that I could share with, they could share and they could share, it was this leveraged income that would literally be limitless, there was no end in sight to it. I thought that was a brilliant idea and jumped into it 9 years ago. And something, Blue, thank you. We're very honored and grateful every day for you sharing this information with us. Met the most amazing human being I've ever met, my wife, Marcy, in this business. But now we work from home. We do this full time. We help people on, 13 different countries, where I was only able to help people in one town, the town I lived in when I was a chiropractor. But this has just been a blessing for us. And I'll let Marcy share her story, and then we'll get into some of the ways that our company incentivizes us to go out and get to work.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, guys, if you're sitting out there and you've never done network marketing before, don't worry about it, because neither had I. Dondi really hadn't either. And most of the people that are part of LifeVantage now at those elite ranks had never done network marketing before. So what you're going to learn is that, we have an amazing system in place that alleviates that pain of doing something for the first time. So for me, I used to be a police officer. I was for almost 10 years. I loved it. But, I had one of those things happen in my life that kind of cut everything off that fast. I was in a car accident on duty in 2009 that ended my career. It ended a lot of things for me, actually. I had a brain injury. I had several herniated discs throughout my spine that required surgery. And instantly, I had to take on a whole new meaning to my life that I didn't give permission for. That created a lot of problems. First of all, losing my paycheck, right? So I ended up getting retirement at 50%. And what Blue's telling you about that retirement thing, 50% does not work, right? And so I was having difficulty paying my bills. I went through a divorce because of financial issues, lost a house, and I ended up really depressed. I was on a lot of prescription medication, including some for the depression, the antidepressants, anxiety medication that have warning labels on them that say may cause suicidal tendencies. Now, the problem is that it's not who I am, but situationally, I was in a really sucky place. And I know a lot of you can kind of relate to that, because life's not always easy. I ended up having 4 suicide attempts before I was introduced to this amazing information that I am just so fired up. What Blue and Tyler just shared with you guys. Oh my gosh, seriously, I'm like ready to go to work like right now. But we just want to share with you that this thing is real. We're all just really normal people that saw a need for our own personal lives for change, and we decided to take it. And so what I want to tell you is that everything that has been shared with you so far is 100% true and real. Don't trust me, go check it out, just like Tyler said. But what's really cool is that being partnered with a company like LifeVantage, not only do we get to build this business from home together with our kids, our daughters in the room, just over on the other side of us, and you know, it's amazing because we're with a company that has our best interests in mind. And so not only do we get paid really, really well for working really, really hard, because this is hard work, but it's simple as long as you keep it simple. But they also incentivize us with some really great trips and programs to help us build our businesses the proper way. One of the ones that's going on right now is called our Pacesetter program. It's really exciting because this is paying brand new distributors to get to work really fast. And basically just some of the details about it, because you'll be able to get all of the information from the person that invited you to this webinar. But we want to just kind of wet your whistle a little bit and get you excited about how you can make some really fast money just by making a decision, going to work fast, and increasing your income. So to become a Pro 2 pace setter, basically Pro 2s have 2,500 in volume in their business each month. You can do that really simply working with your team, sharing this information. What's cool is that as soon as you build your business in 30 days to that $2,500 mark, you end up being a Pro 2 pace setter. For that first month of qualification, you get an additional $100 bonus, right? And that's on top of all of the commissions that you got by sharing this information to people up front. And then maintaining it for the second month, you also get an additional $100 paid to you just for building your business. It's really cool. You want to tell them about Pro 3 Pacesetter?
Yeah, and the whole purpose of this and why it's called Pacesetter is to get people going fast. Because if you can make early success in your business, the chances are you're going to get involved with it. You're going to actually get some success and you're going to stick to it. That's the entire purpose and the incentive why to do that. So as Marcy said, with the Pacesetter Pro 2, we have another level, which is called the Pacesetter Pro 3. So if you hit the rank of Pro 3 within 90 days, you'll get an additional $250 on top of the commissions that you're making. And if you saw what Tyler was talking about, an additional $580 or a $580 a month, what you're typically making as a Pro 3, we'll give you an extra $250 on top of that for qualifying as a Pacesetter Pro 3. And if you maintain it for the month following that, you'll get another $250. So it's kind of one of those things. It's not like you work your butt off all year in your company and you hope to get a Christmas bonus and they give you the letter, sorry, we don't have it in the budget to give you a Christmas bonus. This is real stuff. You go out and build a business and you get bonuses within your first month, your first 2 months, your first 3 months, because it's real. The company wants you to be successful. We want you to be successful because everybody wins in this together, but it even goes another level. So we have a Pacesetter Pro 2, like Marcy said, Pacesetter Pro 3, which is you hit the rank of Pro 3, which is $5,000 in volume in your business every month. And you get an extra $250, hold it for a month, get an extra $250. But we have another one beyond that. What is it?
Yeah, it's becoming a Pacesetter Pro. So before I go into that one, do you guys know that if you're just on the edge of deciding to join in with LifeVantage, whoever invited you to this webinar can give you all of the details on this, that you can get to work really fast and you can earn all of those bonuses in 90 days. So you can earn that 100, 250, 250, which is $700 in additional income in your first 90 days on top of the normal commissions. This is a huge, huge incentive that the company has going on. And if you are already in that ranking of Pro 3 and above, don't worry. You can actually become a Pacesetter Pro by helping 3 of your personally enrolled distributors become pace setters. And then you get all kinds of amazing recognition and incentives for becoming that pace setter pro, and amazing leadership opportunities too. So Dondi's going to tell you a little bit more about what you get when you become these pace setters with some of the other incentives we have going on right now too. Absolutely.
And there's research out there that actually talks about how to motivate people. Some people are motivated just by like an attaboy or an attagirl. They know that they're helping somebody, they're impressing somebody, they get to work a little harder. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And everybody loves a compliment. But LifeVantage took it a step further, because some people are motivated more than compliments. They're actually motivated by money. So as we saw, or as you just heard from Marcy and I, there's the Pacesetter program that actually pays you money, but there's also cool things. And not that getting money isn't cool. It's really cool. Money. But there's people that are motivated not necessarily by money or not necessarily by praise or accolades, but by trips, seeing the world, never having to pay for another vacation again in your life. How awesome would that be? Where you can go see cool places around the world on someone else's dime. Right. And that's not because you stole their credit card. It was because you did it right way. So what is it? We have Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. In fact, in like 3 weeks, 3 weeks, we're going to the Bahamas,
4 or
which was
5
another
weeks.
one, a previous incentive. But we have an incentive trip right now to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where we're getting points. And everything that you do, the Pacesetter programs you just heard about gives you points. Things that we do to give you points. Rank advancement gives you points to qualify to spend days in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Oh, I almost wanted to say that in Spanish, but I don't know.
You're a nut.
But isn't that awesome? Trips, vacate, never pay for a vacation again.
Plus, on top of that, guys, or for becoming Pacesetter Pro 2, Pacesetter Pro 3, and Pacesetter Pro, you're going to be getting raffle tickets for a drawing that's going to be held at our next Elite Academy in Anaheim, which, by the way, if you're not registered, even if you haven't enrolled yet, you need to get registered before the end of the month because it's only $99 for the registration. It's totally cool. It's on sale, so you have to buy it, right? Have to. But those raffle tickets that you get are for this thing right here. You see this pace car?
The official Indy 500 pace car from 2017 could be yours.
It's going to be mine. I'm driving it home. So, but you get raffle tickets for all of these different behaviors that help you build your business. So if you're just wondering whether or not you can do this and if you should do this, these are all things that are stacking up to you that are becoming clues that this is a great opportunity. And what's even better is that there's ways that we can help you with some tips to get started. Okay. So first of all, I would say get started fast with the Pacesetter program. Any incentive that the company offers, you should shoot for it and you should run hard towards it because it's all going to help you build your business. So always set your goal and decide. You have to decide first that you are going to accomplish every single incentive that the company offers to you. Think bigger, faster. But what I have to do and tell you is that by thinking bigger and doing it faster, you have to understand there's a lot of personal growth that you need to go through. So that's why my voice is the way that it is today. It's not because I'm sick. It's not because I'm sad, anything like that. It's because we went and we got our butts kicked at a huge personal growth conference this last weekend. But we know that the more we grow, the more we can become better leaders and help our business partners grow their businesses, which builds our business too. So personal growth is a huge, huge thing. You want to talk about how team can help somebody get started fast?
Yeah. And there may be some of you saying, well, I've never done network marketing before. And I wasn't a police officer before. I wasn't a firefighter before. I wasn't a real estate appraiser before or a chiropractor before. I was never been successful in business before. I've been an employee my whole life. That's awesome. Because you're going to know a lot of people just like you. And one of the things I know about employees is most of them would like to have their own business, but they look at the cost of getting involved in a franchise or buying a franchise and where are you going to get the capital? How are you going to get a loan from the bank with bad credit? One of the things that I love about this business is that the margin of entry to get in is extremely low. The risk is extremely low. The payoff potential is extremely high, as you saw, as Blue and Tyler was showing you on the income that can be made. But here's something too. I know you are already qualified because you have one of these. You have a cell phone. You can build your business from your cell phone. You don't need a storefront. You don't need a brick and mortar building. And there's another thing. You have this webinar that you're on right now or that you're watching a recorded version. It happens every Wednesday by two of the top guys in the entire company. They're part of your team and you have an inherent team in this entire business. If you are sponsored by someone, that person and you are connected to a team. So all you need is a team. You need technology, and I know all of you already have a smartphone, and you have the ability to share this information. And even if you're passive and you're shy, every Wednesday you can invite somebody to this very webinar. Once you start gaining some skills, once you start gaining some confidence, once you get that $100 from making the Pacesetter Pro 2, once you get another $250 from making Pacesetter Pro 3, and you're getting some experience under your belt, and you're utilizing your team and the resources that are there for you, all on your with a touch of a smartphone button, you can do it. And now the checks come in and they keep coming in and your incentive grows, your experience grows, your excitement grows. And before you know it, you might look back and go, oh my gosh, I just doubled the retirement that I spent 20 years living 50% of now. You hear those kinds of stories all the time, and you're no different than the people that share those stories all the time, and you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But the last thing we want to share with you is that you have to have proper expectations and understanding. This is something that's new to you. You can't come in and expect to make the income on that income disclosure statement of those premier or elite ranked distributors without putting in the time and the proper education. And that means attending all of the corporate events. We have such amazing trainings that are offered to us, but it would be just like a doctor putting doctor in front of his name, but never going to school and expecting to make doctor money. Would you go to a doctor like that? No, right? So you cannot expect to come into this new business, this new way of leveraging your time, your energy, and your willingness to learn from others to make leveraged income without going and getting the proper education from people just like Blue and Tyler and the other amazing leaders that we have in this opportunity, and including our phenomenal corporate executives. So, I just want to say thank you, Blue. Thank you, Tyler, for letting us be on here with you guys tonight. We appreciate both of you and your leadership, and we want to be like you when we grow up.
Don't grow up. It's no fun.
Right.
Hey, thank you guys so much. What a wealth of knowledge. This has been a lot of fun, and each week you guys will be doing this. We want this to be one of your arrows in your quiver, right? One of your avenues to show your friends. We thank you, guests, for being on here tonight. We know that there's a lot of other ways, maybe even better ways, if we can meet face to face and shake hands and share some things. But this is just a way to get you introduced to what we're doing. Get with the person that put you on the call, that invited you on the call, and make sure that you can get your questions answered directly by them, especially when it comes to how to get started and how to what package to get and how to get started correctly. So I do have a few things that I typically show at the end of this. We'll do those next week on the actual getting started portion. What I do want to show you though is one thing on the system, and then I'll show you those events that they talked about. I'll just pop them up here real quick. So 1 minute here, I'll just flip through these. Our system involves what I would consider some phases. And all I mean by phases is we want to teach you this business step by step. Just like Donnie and Marcy said, we learn it piece by piece. We learn it with mentors. And I just want to be very clear that if you're willing to teach and present and train and mentor, the sky's the limit. I mean, to go from the income we used to make, and now every month, I think we bring in about what I used to make in 2 years as a firefighter. It's amazing to think of that difference. The well is dug. We have it there. We were involved with a really bad accident. My 2 girls were paralyzed from the waist down. I needed to be in the hospital for a few months taking care of them. And our business continued to grow. That is what we're talking about when you build a residual income versus a leveraged hourly income. It does take some learning. It takes some education, some training. You have a process to do that. We don't just hand it to you and say, good luck. We walk you through the process. All we're looking for is some leaders. LifeVantage, I won't go as far as in LifeVantage need you individually, because I think it's going to happen without any one of us individually, but we do need leadership, and we would love to have you come on board, bring your experiences, let us help show you what we have in mind of where we're heading with this, and let's use your help to take this company to where it's heading, and capture the timing that you deserve at least once in your life, right? We always hear that you get 2 chances in life, and if you're over 40, you probably missed one of them statistically, and so this is a chance to maybe regain that. April 21st, we do have a Lead Academy. Our LifeVantage Academy. These are our Saturday trainings. If you go to LifeVantageAcademy.com, please register. It's $25, and we will go through the system that I just popped up there for 1 second. We take 4 hours and develop the idea of how to invite and how to teach and how to present and how to mentor. We show you that process. We have an Elite Academy. The reason I want to really focus on this is because most people don't know, you guys. It's $99 through the end of March. It takes place in July 12th through the 14th. You guys can guess where it's at there in the with Disneyland. What an amazing chance for $100 to come meet corporate, shake hands, really look under the hood, like I was saying, and get to know what the company's about. And then the last thing is we want to do a tour. We have some of the top leaders in the company. There's actually 4 Pro 10s that are traveling into about 14 cities in 90 days. And we just want to do what we kind of the old school midnight madness. We're starting in the evening, we're ending late at night. We want to unveil, if you would, how to be free. We want to show you what it means to learn and do and teach and learn the principles within those phases that we just showed you. We have some of the top leaders coming to you, which is kind of the benefit. We want to cheapen the cost, bring it to you. It eliminates hotels and some of those things. It's not to replace LifeVantage Academy or Elite Academy. There's things that those offer that we cannot bring to you at all. But this is a way to bring some quality training to your hometown, round everyone up, get pre-registered, you guys, befree2018.eventbrite.com. Those registrations will help us know what venue and things to lock in. We're going to be starting in Salt Lake on the 5th, going to Denver on the 6th, Kansas City on the 9th, 7th, South Bend on the 9th, and then ending in Phoenix on the 10th for our first round of those tours. And Donnie and Marcy are going to be helping us in Phoenix with that, so we appreciate that. You guys, I know we went over a little bit tonight, but there's so much information, it's hard to know and pick and choose what to share. Get on every week because you'll get everything if you just keep jumping on. I will say, though, for you guests, thank you for the time. Please get with the person that brought you, get the further details. They can connect you to us if we missed something or you didn't get an answer to a question. I think I answered everything while everyone was talking in the questions, but I'm sure I missed some things. If I did, please call. We want to talk. We want to help you. We want to personally walk you to your personal goals. And I don't care if that's Pro 5, Pro 7, Pro 10, or Executive Pro 10, or whatever that looks like for you. It's possible. I guarantee you it's possible, guys. I grew up on a ranch. I learned how to work hard, but I had no idea what leveraged income was. It was all linear to me. It was all dollars and hours. I had a good mentor. I learned how to do it. Within a couple years, we completely changed our financial situation, and I'm grateful we did. Waking up in the hospital was a real test of this type of industry, and I was grateful that my income went up every single month that I was sitting in bed taking care of my daughters and my family. What an amazing ability to show that, you guys. Let's go dig the well. Let's be healthy. Let's show people how to find true health. Let's get wealthy in the same time. And let's take this to our friends. So next week, we'll see you again. Call us with questions. We appreciate it. Donnie, Marcy, thanks for joining us. Tyler, thank you as well. We'll see you soon. Appreciate you guys.